in the morning huddle of an office that I worked at, the office manager would bring out insurance pre-authorization codes so that the dentist would only offer treatments that had pre-qualifications from the insurance company, which made the process very much fraud. Hi, it's Dr. Osafi with New Life Dental Implant Center. I'm sitting here today with our CEO, Ben Holguin, and our CFO, Sean Osafi, and we're just talking dental implants, life transformations, and making big changes in as many people's lives as possible. How are you guys doing today?
Doing great. I'm glad I'm here.
Dr. J's so humble. I mean, today we wanted to create the podcast because a lot of what we noticed in the industry is that it's so expensive to get dental implants, and on our end, it's very much something that insurance doesn't cover, and patients are usually kind of left to their own devices to figure things out. And so we're here today because we want to transform the way dental implants are done. We want to bring it to the common person so that you don't have to be rich to be able to get dental treatment done. And
Absolutely.
So Dr. J created this whole process a long time ago, and I just want him to share a little bit about what he did and how it all started, and kind of the genius behind how New Life started.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, how did it start?
Yeah, well, New Life actually started a while back. I think in 2018 is when I had just moved to Seattle, Washington, and I recognized that at that time dental implants were just barely becoming popular for full mouth treatment. And I noticed the price tag of $50,000, $60,000, and I had a relative that had just completed treatment and paid $75,000 for full mouth treatment, and they had to get a HELOC on a big home that they had bought in the 70s, and to be able to afford it. And she was struggling. She was having problems going between multiple offices, and then at the end, she was left with a product that didn't even look that good. And I kind of noticed that there's a problem. There is a lack of proper service, there's a lack of quality, and also a need for more affordability when it comes to such an expansive treatment that can have such a big transformation in so many people's lives. So at that moment, a light kind of went off, and I realized that I could do something bigger with my degree than filling cavities. So,
yeah, and at that time, you were a pediatric dentist.
Yeah, this is kind of a weird one, but I originally graduated as a pediatric dentist. I went to residency. I specialized in pediatric and hospital dentistry, and I focused entirely on the treatment of children and teens with special healthcare needs, very complex medical conditions, and I treated them in a hospital setting under general anesthesia. The biggest part of that was the transformations that I was making in the lives of very delicate individuals who were very compromised and had a huge need for a change in their life. With that background and transferring that to dental implants was a big transformation. And when I talk about it with other dentists, they really get surprised as to how big of a change that was for me, going from an extremely young population to a completely opposite side of the spectrum. But treating children, funny enough, is actually not so much different than treating the population we treat for dental implants. The same delicate approach, handling the minimum room for error exists. And obviously with kids, we can barely disrupt them because they're so fragile and they get irritated so quickly. So the same applies for the elderly population, and we want to be as minimally disruptive to their life. And that's really how I initially envisioned providing dental implants to patients. And it started from a center focus of affordability, high quality, and the least disruptive process that would allow patients to get the care they needed, to have that transformation done. And that's where the solution came, as to looking into digital dentistry and to try to make the process much more efficient. But it was a big process, and it worked out for us really well. But it all started in Seattle, Washington. We opened up one clinic. We treated over 3,000 patients in Seattle in a matter of 2 years. And then we transferred to California and opened up 4 locations in Southern California. And just recently, we opened up another 2 locations in Arizona. I'm really proud to say that we are looking to expand further because we see that there is a massive need, and we really want to make that change on a bigger scale, and it's happening. So the change is coming. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Of course.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you. Yeah, I met Dr. Osafi back June 2021. I distinctly remember one day getting a phone call, and he's like, "I'm coming from Seattle." And I was like, "Okay, cool. Who are you?" And he was just such a nice person. I worked with thousands of dentists, and from the past career that I've been in, and there's been a lot of people that have that I've met, and he was one that stood out for just the genuine nature of who he is. And I've been so appreciative of the opportunity to be able to work alongside these guys. And it's just been a fun experience. And in dental, in my past experiences in dental, it's been crazy to me that this is not a service that's very common. It's something that's really transformed over the past 15 years. And now we have it down to such a science where we can take patients from a situation that isn't allowing them to live a normal life and taking them all the way across the table to be able to smile, eat again, and live a normal life, be happy, spend time with their family, go out into society, and just live a better life. And on my end, it's amazing to see that. When you're sitting in the room to see a patient and how their eyes light up when they get their new smile, to me, that is worth every single bit of the efforts that we're putting in.
And I see patients like this all the time, where I, like Yvette, who had just gone through cancer treatment, and sorry to cut you off.
Go ahead. No.
But going through cancer treatment and being extremely compromised to the point where she'd given up hope on everything. And then having that patient come to us with no hope, not able to smile, lost all her finances, had friends and family pitch in just for her cancer treatment, and she beats cancer. And now she's looking for a way to get back up. And she comes to us, and we are able to provide that care in a very efficient manner in as little as 3 to 5 visits. It really does make a change. And you see that change when the patient comes back. We see them. And to be able to beat cancer and then get a smile and relive life as a brand new person is really what this is about.
And the favorite part for me is that when I talk to the dentist friends that I have, they're shocked that we're able to do it for the price that we're doing it at, and that we're actually making it possible for patients. The $70, $80, $90, $100,000 price tags that are out there is just unattainable.
And that was the challenge when we first started, because what ended up happening is when we were first looking to open back in Seattle, the challenge was, how do we make it so that the general population is able to access this type of care more affordably, right? Because when you're in you're in a different category when you're at 50, 60, 70,000 for this treatment. So I personally come from a sales and finance background, and we put our minds together, similar to how Elon Musk took the parts off the rocket and figured out a more cost-effective way of doing it without affecting the quality of materials and the quality of service that we provide. And so we were able to hit a price point where most of the population was able to come in and take advantage of this treatment, because it makes a huge difference in the quality of their lives. And so basically we pushed that over to patients in California, because we started noticing that, it's so bad that people want to go to Mexico, go to Turkey, go to Poland to get this procedure done, when in reality we shouldn't be that far off, and that's what we were trying to achieve. That's what we have achieved, and so patients are happy, we're happy, able to provide this type of service for the price, and it all starts with finding the people that are motivated to move forward, because when it comes to sales, sales in general has a very bad name, just because you're selling someone something, but in reality all you're doing is you're helping someone move forward, whereas they otherwise would procrastinate. A lot of our patients, and I've noticed this over the years, a lot of them are extremely anxious, extremely nervous, and rightfully so. They haven't been able to chew the foods that they wanted to. They haven't been able to smile in public. It's a very dark time in their lives, and I always tell patients, just getting up in your car and getting to a consultation, whether if it's with us or anywhere else, is the key to starting that journey, and that's what everyone needs to do. And when they do, whether if it's with us or anyone else, but when they move forward, they're a completely different person. I mean, the person before the procedure and the person after the procedure, we can all agree they're completely
100%.
different people.
100%.
Absolutely.
Affordability is the biggest part of it, right? Because a lot of these companies that are offering the full mouth dental implant treatment, and we can talk about the specific ones. Clear Choice, 4M Dental Implant Center is one. Nuvia is another national chain. They are offering treatment to a specific subgroup of people that can afford, $55,000 to $60,000, and the income level to be able to attain that type of a price range is really high. So they are treating a different subgroup of patients, and unfortunately limiting the other subgroup, which makes up about 60% of the population, that ends up actually needing this treatment more than the more rich subgroup. And unfortunately, the people that end up absolutely needing the treatment don't get the treatment they need because of affordability. And to make this procedure affordable, it really is the hardest part, because you can't compromise quality. And we all know that. The type of implants that we use have to meet standard FDA requirements. And in the United States, we can't skip on any of that. The bone grafting that's used has to come from the same bone bank that every other bone graft comes from. And the same goes for the prosthetic components, the zirconia, and every part of the procedure that we can't skip out on. The surgeon has to be paid, anesthesiology has to be covered, and the staff need to be trained, and the correct staff needs to be there to do the procedure, specialized for this specific procedure. And the right surgeon would complete the process in less than 2.5 to 3 hours. Now, all of this given with the security of knowing that the product will be excellent is really hard to make it extremely affordable. And that's where we came together, and my brothers and I, Sean and my other brother, Behfar, to really come up with a plan. And the only way we were able to make this possible is by working together. And we started this process in Seattle with the promise that we will be able to expand this care to as many people in as little time as possible. And we have been able to do that in the past 3.5 years through our expansion, and rightfully so, because we see that there is a need, and that need is being met by New Life.
Mm-hmm. And I like the point you mentioned. I mean, there are other people out there that would be so-called competitors. But at the same time, I don't believe we have competition in this, because the population's aging. I mean, we're going into the boomer generation, and they're starting to lose their teeth, and we're getting to the point now where we need to be able to service them.
Who are our competitors right now? Do you guys know what? If I wanted to talk about the actual list of competitors or providers that are doing this on a massive scale, can you guys point some out?
Yeah, Clear Choice would be the one main one. But the point that I was making with that is there's a good handful of people that are doing it regionally. And then when you look at the actual need for it, there's such a need out there for it that we're just trying to catch up with that need. And we're servicing the subsection of people that aren't able to do that, which is what I love about us. And the other portion of that is we have to look at the alternatives to treatment, because this isn't the only treatment that exists out there for people that are missing teeth or need to have their teeth removed. A lot of times this is driven by the fact that we have patients who come in and they can't eat because the infection is so bad. Their health is deteriorating. It's going to their heart, to their lungs, to their brain, and everything else.
Yeah. What other alternatives right now are there that you guys know to this specific treatment?
Well, I mean, what I see, and part of what I do within this company is I like to metaphorically touch as many patients as possible, and that includes being on the phones, right? When calls come in, I want to be able to make sure that I'm talking to patients and actually being on the front lines to see their concerns. And one of the biggest issues that people have is that they are not able to smile. That's their biggest thing, right? So when I get a call in, it's someone that just hasn't been able to be in a public setting because they can't leave. A lot of times, I have elderly talking to me about how this is very sad, but their kids or grandkids don't want to get close enough to them, especially their grandkids, because their teeth are in really bad shape. But yeah,
it's a big deal. But when I look at the different types of treatments that are out there, can we name a few of them?
Yeah. So for me on my end, I mean, I educate patients. We have 3 options here. Really, you have take all of your teeth out and stick a couple blocks of plastic in your mouth to hopefully not lose any more bone, which you will over time, and try to bite into an apple. Good luck.
Yep.
Those are the things that are widely available. I mean, sometimes you
and
can
that's what
find
insurance
them.
covers.
That
right?
is what
insurance covers
That is the only thing
extractions
insurance
and
covers,
exactly.
essentially.
So the
extractions and dentures.
actual alternatives are
Dentures.
One is dentures. So for patients, we're talking about specifically patients that are missing almost all their teeth, or they're in a state of terminal dentition, right? They're missing multiple teeth. They have infections. They have periodontal disease. These patients are missing multiple teeth, and they go to the dentist, and the dentist really offers them one of 3 options. One is do nothing at all. Go home and pray that things are going to be okay. Number 2 is to extract all the teeth and have nothing at all, just to extract the teeth. Option 3 is dentures. All these options are, of course, covered by insurance. And unfortunately, dentures, they only give back about 30% to 40% of actual function of dentition. And when I look at the changes that are made when a patient transitions from having their teeth to dentures, it not only changes the ability to chew, it really changes your diet. So rightfully
They have
so.
absolutely
Yeah,
digestion
they have-
issues for
exactly.
sure.
They have to eat more processed foods, and they need to, because if a food is not processed, they won't be able to chew it, to digest it. So they eat more processed foods, and there is an incline in a lot of these patients getting diabetes and having other health issues. So having dentures directly leads to a decline in health. And this is specifically what's covered by insurance. And that's the major issue that we see with a population that needs to eat properly to maintain proper health. From that point on is where we start with the problems of the healthcare system in the country and the availability and access to proper care. Unfortunately, in this country and many places in the world, dental implants are not considered still the standard of care. And the reason is because of affordability, because the cost of dental implants is much more expensive than dentures. Governments and healthcare systems don't cover them. And that's why
they're considered cosmetic.
Exactly. They're considered cosmetic, and therefore no one considers the functionality of dental implants. And
yeah, it's bad. I can't believe how bad it is right now, because we have patients that come in and they're throwing around their dental insurance, and I go, let's call the insurance company together. Let's see where we're at with all of this. And they go, okay, cool. Well, we have $1,500, and then we help them submit it, and they submit it through, and they get declined. And that's just the general nature of how these things go with insurance companies. And unfortunately, I had a stint where I actually worked for an insurance company, and I will tell you that a lot of times their goal is to deny everything. Their job is to maintain a certain level of profit by declining money going out. And that's just how it goes. And so from my perspective, it's 40 million Americans have dentures, and about 40 million of them hate them. And it's something that people can't get over. So from what I see on our end, one of the areas that we focused on to really bring the cost down is keeping everything in-house. And so let's touch on a couple points there, because what we've done here is we brought our lab in-house. We're able to make restorations that are extremely high quality. We control the quality of it from very beginning to the very end, which also helps us control the costs. We do all of our own marketing. We have conversations like this on a weekend so that we can speak to our patients, so that they hear about us, they understand what we're about, what we're doing. And then everything from the highly trained staff all the way to what we're doing with the anesthesia providers, and having consistent anesthesia providers in office so that they can work on the patients. Well, they can sedate the patients while our doctor is able to actually perform the surgery very efficiently and significantly faster than what I used to see with other doctors doing this procedure. Most of the time, I would see doctors doing this procedure over 7 to 9 hours. 7 to 9 hours of sedation on one single patient is insane to me. And so the fact that our doctors can do it in 2 to 3 hours blew my mind when I started here a few years back.
Definitely. And when you talk about the lab, bringing the lab in-house, it really made it impossible for us to be able to offer this treatment without bringing the lab in-house. And the biggest part of it is that the quality is also what's affected. It's enhanced when you bring the lab in-house, because you can see specifically the changes you need to make on a clinical level and make them right away. Patients appreciate that. They don't need to wait 3 to 4 weeks to find out if the lab made the right changes or not.
Exactly.
We're making changes on the spot. Affordability requires an in-house laboratory. Affordability also requires that we do a lot of the other processes that would normally be delegated out ourselves, and doing the entire financing process in-house. And thankfully, we have Sean as part of our team, as our financial director, to make sure that we have a well-rounded financial team, getting people qualified with all the options that are out there, multiple different revenue sources for patients, to get them qualified.
That's right.
To a point that it becomes a no-brainer for them to move forward with monthly payments as little as $250. And I know you can elaborate on this.
Yeah. So basically, and it's gotten a little bit more challenging getting financing due to just the
nature of the market.
Exactly, the nature of the banking sector in the country. But I mean, that's always going to fluctuate, right? So, but what we basically have noticed is, and this all starts with the phone call, right? On the phone call, we determine if the patient is able to move forward financially, because the last thing we want to do is to have someone come in with their hopes high and not being able to move forward, right? And so these external finance companies that we use, they're essentially giving patients a personal loan, right? And a personal loan, the challenge with that is, and I always tell patients this, is if someone stops making a payment, it's not like an auto loan where they come and repo the car. They can't repo teeth once it's done. So they do have certain criteria set up. For example, a 640 and higher credit score, certain level of income. But once the patient moves forward and is able to get pre-qualified, we are able to start the process. And for most patients, thankfully, we are able to finance them through the different companies that we work with and the companies that trust us in having our patients move forward with them, lending the money to our patients, and they are able to move forward through the financing. And so there's different types of loans available. There's loans for people that don't want to pay interest. There's a 2-year interest-free loan. There's a loan that goes as high as 10 years or even 12 years.
But to find these options for them,
Right.
and to really dive deep in, to look through all the different avenues, is something that also makes it more accessible.
Absolutely.
And that's another part of the process of increasing access to care. Unfortunately, there are many providers out there that limit that,
Right.
either by only accepting insurance and requiring specific insurance.
And that's the thing what I've noticed is that the system is made to kind of, excuse me, but screw the patient. Why?
Yeah.
Because a patient goes to the regular dentist, right? They have, for example, a cavity, right? The dentist goes and bills insurance and takes care of the cavity, does a filling. Well, what happens is as you get older, you start getting crowns, or first, veneers, crowns, and then as you get older, your teeth from the inside, if you're not blessed genetically, or if there's something wrong with the integrity of your teeth, the teeth from the inside are rotting, right? Mm-hmm. And so what a regular dental office does, and this is what I've noticed, is that they prioritize billing insurance and doing patchwork on the patient,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
Up to a point where it's almost too late, right?
I can give one example
Yeah.
of this specifically is in the morning huddle of an office that I worked at, the office manager would bring out insurance pre-authorization codes so that the dentist would only offer treatments
Exactly.
that had pre-qualifications from the insurance company, which made the process very much fraud.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't call it necessarily a scam or fraud. Why? Because I don't think the dentists have much choice. I think the fraud starts with the insurance. Mm-hmm. That's where the actual fraud is, in my opinion.
And the reason why I disagree is because if the dentist could, which they can, they would just drop the insurance and treat patients directly.
Yes,
and many
that's true.
patients, unfortunately, many dentists choose that route, and they focus their attention on milking the insurance company's money.
Right. That's exactly what it is.
As a result, the patients are the ones that get hurt, and they don't get good treatment. But you're absolutely right. They do patchwork. They fix work over a 15 to 20-year period until the patchwork fails, and then they go directly to the denture route.
That's exactly right. Because again, that's what insurance would cover.
That's what insurance covers, and that's the cycle that is our focus point, really. At that point, when patients are exhausted, they have gone through years of dental work, years of sitting in a chair for 5-6 hours at a time, 3 to 4 times a year, getting fillings done, root canal retreatment, and then the extraction, and then they kind of give up. We see this, 8 to 10 out of patients that come to us are exhausted. They have dental exhaustion. One of our doctors, Dr. Haley, mentions it and goes into detail about it because a lot of patients get very emotional. They start crying when we talk about even getting them in the chair because they have phobia. They have lost communication with any dentist, and they have not even wanted to look for one because they're scared.
Yeah. Many of the patients we see haven't been around to a dentist in 30 years.
No.
Yeah.
They have not, yeah. And one of the questions that we ask patients is, what's your fear of the dentist on a scale of 1 to 10?
20.
And it's, well, for most people, it's 8 and higher.
Yeah.
Why? Because like you said, there's a phobia of the dentist. No one likes the dentist, and rightfully so. But yeah, it makes it prevents them from actually doing what's necessary, and that is something like this where they can exponentially increase the quality of their life. And keep in mind, we've had patients like Sarah that is 37 years old that wanted to extract all of her healthy teeth. No one is going to do that. No, yeah. There's an ethics part of dentistry that you never want to cross, and we would never do that. And no other dentist touched their teeth. But the reality is, if your teeth are compromised, obviously, and this is what every doctor in our company says, your actual teeth are your number one. Like, there's nothing that even comes close. But if your teeth are compromised, this is the best solution outside of your existing teeth.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I believe that when you look at this procedure becoming common, there are a subgroup of patients that sort of give up a little too easy, and they want to extract their teeth knowing that there's still many years left on their natural teeth. And we are definitely not the type of practice to treat those patients because we really want to be the last defense against saving teeth. And we want to make sure that we're the last treatment in line and they've already exhausted all other options and they have been exhausted, and then we come in and we fix everything. We are that alternative to dentures. The biggest part, though, when we talk about affordability and quality of treatment is really, and focusing on the price point, the laboratory component, bringing everything in-house. The final piece is really putting it all together and making it one process. And that is really the highlight of what makes this process more affordable because everyone works together as a team. Then previous or conventional method of doing this treatment was to have patients go to a surgeon and then get an evaluation by a prosthodontist. So they're going between two offices, a prosthodontist and a surgeon. And then the prosthodontist refers the patient to the surgeon to get the surgery, usually a day after or the day of. They'll kind of coordinate coming to the prosthodontist's office from the surgery office. You can imagine they're kind of sedated in the middle of the way. And then they get their temporary teeth put in. The surgery is about 7 to 8 hours because the surgeon that's doing this case is not doing it every day. They're doing one case every 3 to 4 months. It's not their bread and butter. So the experience is really not there. And it requires a team of 8, 9 people there together working and the lab. But nevertheless, the patient gets it done. And then they wait about a year. They used to wait about a year and a half.
More than that, yeah.
Yeah, even more than that to get their laboratory work. They would have to go and sit at the lab a few visits. The process became digital, made it much easier.
That's one of the reasons why it's more expensive somewhere, yeah.
Not to mention they're in their denture the entire time, a traditional denture. So they have the 2 blocks of plastic there for a year and a half, 2 years, until they can actually get the fixed prosthetic.
100%. But bringing it all together as a team to do this in one location from start to finish really is what makes it extremely efficient, makes it the least disruptive to patients' lives, and it really gets patients to find no other reason to not commit to moving forward and having that transformation done because they realize that the affordability problem is gone. They realize that the efficiency is there, and they know that an expert team with a lot of experience is available to do it with the highest quality possible and to do it correctly. And with those components, we see that a good number of patients are accepting treatment where they would have never gone forward with treatment. And we're seeing a subgroup of patients that would not even have gone to the dentist to inquire about it because they would never afford it. We're talking about teachers, people that work at the grocery store.
Yeah, blue collar.
Amazon employees, that you couldn't imagine, UPS drivers, any subgroup of the population that would normally not be able to afford dental implants is able to because of this process. And that's why we want the competition. We want more people to be able to provide this care because there are about 40% of the population that needs this treatment, that is wearing dentures.
Well, the other thing, too, is I just want to kind of toot our own horn a little bit. The one thing that I'm most happy about is the experience that the patients have when they come in. And I think that's directly related to, one, the training and the people that we find. Yes. I mean, we have the best team in dental that I can possibly have imagined.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, I mean, I've been to hundreds and hundreds of dental practices, and the simple fact that you come in and you feel like you're a part of something bigger, you feel like you're walking into a first-class resort, this is what I am so proud of, because we have an amazing team.
Absolutely, but I mean, what do you guys think we look for when it comes to finding good people? Because I have my own reasons as to, and I'm very biased. When it comes to looking for people, I can say that I throw out all the rules and go with 100% instinct. And it's feeling, all feeling. It's almost as if I'm trying to find ways to connect with the person,
yes,
to see if I could hang out with them.
Yep.
On a Friday night, maybe grab a drink together, maybe hang out at the park with their family, because that's where I feel that we could mesh together to such a level to coordinate such high quality care.
Yeah, I've had the pleasure of hiring a good number of people on this team, and it's the four things that I look for specifically are, first is just personality. So to your point, is this person a good person? If I leave my wallet on the table, will it still be there? And are they going to do their best to make sure that nobody else touches it? That's what I look for when, first and foremost. The second thing is, do they understand what we're doing and what we're trying to do? Third thing, do they want to be a part of it? And the fourth thing is, do we have the resources to get them to a point where they can successfully execute the job? Or do they already come to the table with these skills, and can we do it in a time that makes sense so that our patients aren't sitting there waiting?
I absolutely agree, 100%.
That's for me.
For me, I can say probably the one most important part of when it comes to evaluating employees is adversity.
Oh, yeah.
And if I see that they have gone through some form of adversity, it's almost as if I'm biased, because I look at them and I immediately think that they can handle pressure. And they'll be able to treat our patients right no matter what it's going to take.
But bar none, we make sure to take care of them. I mean, for me, one of the biggest things for me is sitting down with the team in the morning, all of us grabbing a coffee together and just chatting about how life is going, what's going on, what can I do to help. And for me, it's just one of the most exciting things to see our team and to see them flourish, to see them go from having great skill to top class, best in the industry type of skill. And that to me is the most exciting. I mean, I've seen some of our team go from starting off as a receptionist to handling all of our medical clearances to becoming successful on all of handling patient concerns over the phone to managing multiple locations
100%.
and seeing dozens of patients per month. I mean, you know, the number of patients that we see is incredible, and to be able to manage the quality of treatment as well as the ability to make sure that they have an amazing experience, to me is something that's just never been done before in dental.
Yep. The reason why I feel that you're absolutely right, and the reason I feel that our staff puts that much effort is because the same vision that drives us, they're on board with it. They're
Absolutely.
actually driven by the same vision. They see the transformations in the office every day, and it fuels them to push harder, to try harder, and they get motivated. It's almost a high that they're getting every day
Exactly.
from seeing patients' lives change.
Yeah.
It's the same for me, to
Yeah,
be honest with
exactly.
you.
Me
It's the reason I
too.
do it
Me
every
too.
day, every surgery. And
I agree.
The staff see the excitement in my face, and I can sense that. They can tell that I'm getting excited, I'm showing up for surgery, and I talk to patients in that way.
Mm-hmm.
I tell them, hey, this is it. This is it. You're saying goodbye to your teeth. You're done. This is where the new life begins. And I really mean it, because my intent is to be as transformative as possible.
So let's talk about the next few years. I mean, right now, we're at a point where we're creating a vision that's so big that other people who join the team can see their own vision fitting inside the vision that we're creating. And that's what we're doing. The next 5 years are going to be insane. When we started a few years back to create everything that we're at now, it started with just a dream and a smaller goal. And then all of a sudden, one day we woke up and the vision became 10 times bigger.
Absolutely.
And so where are we going these next 5 years? Let's talk about that.
I think growth is in the horizon, without a doubt. Growth is absolutely in the horizon. However, because of how delicate this procedure is, and because it takes so much manpower to be able to maintain quality, growth will come at a pace where we can maintain the quality, but also maintain patient care with a consistent basis. And doing it at a volume is obviously our goal, to be able to expand this service to as many patients as possible, but we don't want to compromise quality. Training the staff takes time, making sure that the laboratory process is consistent regardless of where it's being done or where it's being sent. And that's really the limitation. But growth is in the horizon. And we want to, in two ways. One, either, as we talk about this, either expand by opening up more locations, mom and pop shops that offer this exact treatment, or partner with other dental practices, either through training or through laboratory service assistants, to be able to provide this service to their patients in different parts of the country and even in other areas of the world. the digital workflow that we have implemented, the Zircor dental implant process, is really something that can be utilized by anyone. It's a matter of putting together a team that can follow the process to the T and then deliver quality work with an affordable price to as many patients as possible.
That's right. Yeah, and yeah, being able to expand with the patient, with patients dictating how we actually provide care. Because I do think that, just like you said, one of the things that I've seen is we are changing as the patient's mindset is changing, and we are able to do that because we have always had patients' mindset in mind, right? With anything that we do. I know if we notice that the demographic, or not just the demographic, but like the mindset is shifting to a certain way, we have adapted to that, and I think that's going to allow us to grow and be able to maintain our quality of service.
100%
going forward.
Yeah, we won't compromise quality. That's really the reality. But we have to expand on our resources. The number one goal is, how do we get the message across to dentists, to more patients, to let them know that there is an option. When a dentist sees their patient in need for something definitive, for something permanent, they should know that there is a better option than dentures, and they should directly jump to that and really present it evenly on a table. Say, hey, here's a denture for $8,000, and here's a full set of permanent teeth on zirconia with 4 implants for $10,000. You could go there. It's this philosophy of, why don't we focus on better care regardless of where it's being done, and if you can do it yourself, then do it, but really focus on quality care for the patients. And so getting the message out to all the dentists out there, letting them know that there really is an option, and it's better than dentures, and it's affordable. We are making it affordable, and by offering it to your patients, you're actually enhancing the quality of their life. And it's not fair that they're keeping it away from patients purely as a means of keeping business away from another dentist. And so many patients out there go to the dentist with the intent that their dentist is going to have their best interest in mind. And when they don't offer such treatments, unfortunately, patients are missing out. And then letting more patients know that there is a solution and it's here. The technology is at the best position possible, and we're offering it at the most affordable price in this country. It's not Mexico, it's not Poland, and we want to make sure that patients know we're going to do everything possible to complete as much treatment as we can for as many patients as possible in the shortest time. And our goal is to treat as many patients as we can in as little time as possible. We're here. We're offering extreme affordability, the highest quality in dental implant treatment. We want to make sure that patients know that their best interest is in mind, and that we're here to be part of that transformative process for them. Thank you for listening to our podcast. We're very excited to have you, and we can't wait to continue on.